somebody's never been here before, what should they expect?
Cheval, I guess, Cheval is fun, casual, really kind of loud, boisterous. I think that the original idea behind it was we wanted to capture just the diner feel. I think which I guess is defined sort of as it is with like open kitchen, interaction with the cooks, just like kind of like the old school kind of restaurant world where you walk in and you talk to somebody cooking your food and you could kind of ask to have it done a certain way. I mean, that was the original idea. And then I think for us, and just because of a lot of the backgrounds that we have, there was always a desire to be just to have a little more gastronomic touch to it, I guess, a little bit. So that's why, you'll see like everything from, like cheeseburgers to like a pork porterhouse. It's just like a total different, a different take on it. But, really, I guess when it comes down to it, it's fun. That's what we wanted to do, a restaurant that was really fun.
But you took a genre, right, and elevated it, right?
I don't know if elevated it. I mean, I think that we cook pretty simple food. I think that we try to care about just the simple things a little more. I mean, we basically do what everybody else does, I think, really. But even like when it comes down to just toasting a bun, for example, like for a burger, it's not just throwing the bun up there underneath the heat to try to get a little bit of color. It's toasted really slow, long, even. The bun heats all the way through, kind of puffs up a little bit from the steam, and we get that crunchy top on it. So it's just, I think it's really just caring about the things, just the little things that, really anybody can do what we do, I think.
And we kind of live in a time where the diners are more educated, right? They just know more.
Yeah, 100%.
They're more enthusiastic about their food. Do you think you tap into that a little bit?
I think just as a whole, like the education of an average diner is, 10 or 20 times what it was even 5 years ago. I mean, just the attention to detail, the willingness to try new food. I mean, there's 100%. I think that, just not just for us here, but restaurants across the board, I think there's a much steeper call for quality.
And adventure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, people are trying things today that they would never even touch 5 years ago, for sure.
Now, you travel a lot, I'm guessing, right?
I do, yeah.
What's the Chicago diner like versus other diners?
Actually, I think Chicago is really sophisticated, honestly. I think on par, especially in the U.S. I mean, if you look at New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, you could tie a couple other cities in there, but I think those, San Francisco, Austin, Texas, wherever you may go. I think that it's, I think that Chicago's just getting used to the idea that it's okay to go out at 11 p.m. and have a full meal. That's something that I think that, New York is definitely ahead of everybody else on. But I would call, the Chicago diner, I think they're, well, myself included, since I live in Chicago, I think we're in a great position. I think that, with just everything that's going on in Chicago and all the new restaurants opening up, it's a very exciting. I would call the Chicago diner lucky. They're in the right place at the right time, for sure.
That's a really good way of putting it.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought too much about the comparison in New York as far as late night. Because New York, you can sit down to a great meal at midnight.
Anywhere, yeah.
And here, you still have to find it.
Even 5 years ago, I remember when we opened our first restaurant, Gilt Bar, there was barely anything open late. I think Avec was open late. I think that one or two other spots were open late. But I was always told Chicago's not a late night dining town. And the truth is that it is. It's a huge dining town at all hours. So I think that that's something I'm really happy to see, is just longer restaurant hours.
What made you want to get into the restaurant business? How did that all work out?
So I think when most people look at what I've done or what our organization has done over the last couple of years, they view it as very, very quick. And I think you said that, a short period of time. For me, it's been a long time. It's been, my intro into the food industry happened 20 years ago. And I've probably been working towards having my own establishment for the last 17 of those. So it's really been a long run. My background is all back of house. It wasn't until, I kind of shifted gears slightly at Gilt Bar when we opened up. But my role was just to be a chef. That's what I loved. That's what I wanted to do. I had some wonderful opportunities early on to travel Had a great apprenticeships as I went along the way, but I stayed. My interest at that time was all fine dining, very high end. So all 3 Michelin star restaurants. I really traveled the world just to work in these establishments. So Paris, outside of Paris, in this countryside of France, New York City, San Francisco, Napa. That was what I wanted to do. I ended up in Chicago because I had an opportunity to work with Rich Melman, which I felt like I had this wonderful training in food and flavor profiles and development and team building and discipline and everything, but I really had no idea how to run a business at all. And he really helped with that. That was a great kind of finishing school.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people they either have the front of the room skill or the back of the house skill, right? They don't have both. There's a few people who do.
Yeah, I'd say I'm just good enough at everything to kind of get by and help people be better. I'm a good coach.
How important to you is about like the feeling of the place? How important is that to you?
For me, it's everything. I think that's what, when we talk about doing a new restaurant, we talk about what does it feel like? What do we want? What's the room? How does it sound? How's the lighting? And then from there, I think that food is very important. Everything is in the food and drink for me. The actual product that we're serving is first and foremost. But if it's put in the wrong room, on the wrong stage, if you will, you can really hurt it. And so we try to get the stage right so we can really focus on the food and make it the best we possibly can. Whether we're doing something a little more formal or more casual, it's very much like theater. That's probably the closest theater or cinema. I think that creating these little worlds, and we talk about that a lot. When you step inside, what happens? Are you caught up in the energy of the room? And that's really important.
If someone's come here for the first time, they're going back and talking to their colleague, spouse, partner, pick your person. What do you want them to say about the experience they had here?
What do I want them to say? I think that I want them to get lost in it. I want them to have a good time. I want them to, it's a little hard, it's a little difficult to get in at times. We have a long wait. It's like you have to kind of plan your night around it. If you do it right, though, it's good. You can put your name in, go do something else, come back, have a great meal, have a really enjoyable time, leave saying, like, that was fun. This restaurant is really about just like casual enjoyment and kind of leaving the world behind you and walking in and being caught up in this just unique, wonderful experience.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.